Please prepare, as we are hearing some seriously cold weather is about to hit the United States. And if you thought the past couple days have been cold, they're saying you ain't seen nothing yet. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. January polar vortex forecast warns of 2 Arctic blasts. A dramatic blast of cold air may be coming for the United States in late January, courtesy of the polar vortex. Here's what could happen, and you can see this coming out in the last 24 hours, January 18th, 2026. And take a look, polar vortex update. Map shows the states that are going to be facing persistent cold. And if you're wondering if this is for sure or not, take a look. Polar vortex locks in over most of the United States. Days of Arctic temperatures are ahead for millions throughout January, as we're hearing that the polar vortex is about to have 2 Arctic blasts that are going to be on the way. Things are about to get cold. And so if you thought it was cold, we're hearing you haven't seen the full part of it yet. There's going to be more on the way. In fact, if you haven't heard already, it's snowing in Florida. A strong cold front brings snow to northern Florida. You can see the date, January 19th, 2026. In Home Alone, Kevin McAllister didn't want to go to Florida because he said there was no snow and he couldn't celebrate Christmas there. But in 2026, it's a different story. And take a look at this. Rare snowflakes fly in the south as storm changes up the East Coast, dumping inches of snow. We're hearing Florida, Georgia, Alabama. There is unprecedented levels of cold weather that have been pouring in, and some unfortunate breaking news coming out just in the past couple of hours. A 100-vehicle pileup on I-196 in West Michigan, police say. And I've got some video footage I'm going to be sharing with you of the snow in Florida, of the pileup that's unfolding, and we're going to be diving into the articles as they're warning that there is going to be some seriously cold weather, and please prepare now, especially if you think it's been cold. They're saying it's likely going to get even colder. So we're going to dive into the latest details, and if you appreciate the updates, keeping you up to speed on everything, do me a favor, please take a quick second, hit that thumbs up like button for me. Just helps the live stream while we're here on YouTube spread out further across the platform. I appreciate it a ton. Thank you so much. And to stay up to date on everything, we've got conflict going on with Iran. We've got conflict going on over Greenland. There's issues with Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia, Mexico. We also have proposed new legislation. There's issues going on right now in Minnesota. I covered for you that a church was swarmed by anti-ICE protesters, and we have some unprecedented levels of cold that are going to be hitting the United States. To stay up to date on all of it, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, and all the articles that I reference, I cite all my sources. They're going to be linked down in the description below, so you can read any of these for yourself as well. And I see people pouring into the comments. I see LaDonna Davis saying, I hate the cold. Donna says, wow, it's super cold. And so, yeah, we're hearing it's going to get colder. Warrior7787 is saying, I love the cold in Florida right now. You've got snow in Florida. It is wild. Let's go ahead, though, and dive into the latest updates so that way you can see it for yourself. And let's just go ahead and start off with some video footage, and then we're going to take a look at the articles. I'm going to get you all the details. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the snow in Florida. And that's it. You can see the welcome to the free state of Florida, the sunshine state, Governor Ron DeSantis, and you can see snow all over pouring down. Now, in addition to that, let's go ahead and take a look at the pileup that has unfolded here. You can see it for yourself in Michigan.
Tonight, sheets of snow smothering cities from the heart of the Midwest.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, wrong one. This is actually the news of what has unfolded over the past couple of days. Let's take a look at this too as well, since we've got it going.
Tonight, sheets of snow smothering cities from the heart of the Midwest to western New York. where planes like this one in Rochester are taking off in near whiteout conditions. One flight there even sliding off the taxiway overnight.
We were just leaving Rochester and went to go get de-iced, and as we were doing that, we slid off the runway.
No one was injured, but the perils of travel right now on full display. This is the aftermath of a 30-car pileup just outside of Syracuse, New York, a jumbled mess of jackknife trailers and trucks. Similar scenes unfolding from Indiana to Pennsylvania, where snow totals have ranged from 17 to 20 inches in just the last 24 hours. Cities like D.C. and New York experiencing 10-degree wind chills.
When it hit you today, what did it feel like?
Oh man, it felt like I don't want to get up and go to work today.
As the Arctic air made it all the way to South Florida, where temperatures were cold enough to, yes, cause iguanas to freeze.
Woo, woo, woo. Oh my goodness gracious!
NBC Miami capturing one falling this morning.
Yeah, tell me.
There you go.
Whoa,
just like that.
Whoa, that is a big guy. That is a big guy. Okay.
The iguana's not hurt, just temporarily out of their element. Much like the Los Angeles Rams, set to take on the Chicago Bears Sunday with wind chills slated for 6 or 7 degrees. Even the Patriots game in Foxborough could be a snow game, fitting for what has turned into a January winter snap, showing no signs of letting up.
And Sam, some of the places that have been hit hardest this winter are expecting even more snow.
Tom, the Midwest has really been hammered, and 4 states that have already exceeded their seasonal averages, that would be Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana, are expecting significant snowfall in areas once again.
There you have it, you guys. Now, that was over the weekend, and as you can see, Florida got hit. There was just tons of snow everywhere, and all along the East Coast, we're hearing it has been freezing cold, and we actually have a massive pileup that just happened a little while ago from the time of this live stream right now, just past a couple of hours. Let's go ahead and take a look at this footage so you can see it. Pretty wild stuff. 100-car pileup in Michigan right now with the weather conditions the way that they are, and like I said, headlines saying that there's 2 Arctic blasts that are going to be on the way, so it is going to be intense here, and they're saying please prepare. It is going to be cold, and it is going to be persistent, one of the headlines said. And you can just see the massive pile up here over in Michigan. Absolutely incredible. If you're a praying individual, pray for those people that are being hit by the weather right now. And I will continue to keep you up to date on all of this. This is just drone footage flying over. You can see just endless cars. Man. Absolutely incredible footage coming out right now of that pileup. But let's go ahead and get you caught up as to what you can expect over the course of the next several days. We're hearing going through the month of January, there is a polar vortex with 2 Arctic blasts that are going to be hitting. Now, this article coming out yesterday, the last 24 hours, a dramatic blast of cold air may be coming to the United States in late January, courtesy of the polar vortex. January polar vortex forecast warns of 2 Arctic blasts. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, this article says that our old wintertime friend, the polar vortex, is set to funnel bitterly cold air south from Canada 2 more times in January, once over the weekend of the January the 17th. And so that is the one that those of you that are experiencing extreme cold weather right now, that is what you have felt. And again, about a week later. So they're saying, brace yourself and please prepare. This is not the end of the cold weather. More is going to be on the way. Now, the first shot of cold air over the weekend and into early next week looks to be the appetizer, with the main course of cold coming the following week, said AEM climatologist Judah Cohen in an email to USA Today on January 14th. I think there is potential for the second round of cold air to be even more extreme. Another expert, weather trader, meteorologist Ryan Moe, agreed, noting that this week, that although this is 2 weeks in the future, so the details and the intensity will change, but we are poised to see a potentially historic Arctic polar vortex blast across North America into the end of January. A stretched polar vortex, they're saying. The polar vortex is not a storm. It's a large-scale, persistent area of low pressure and extremely cold air that sits high in the atmosphere over both the Earth's poles, according to the National Weather Service. It exists year-round, but it strengthens in winter when polar temperatures drop and weakens in the summertime. Now, when the vortex is strong, that cold air stays bottled up over the poles. However, when the vortex weakens, stretches, and becomes disrupted, pieces of that unspeakably cold air can spill southward into the United States, Europe, or Asia, producing outbreaks of frigid Arctic air. That's what is happening in January, and you can see a little diagram right here. Polar vortex, Arctic air over the North Pole. The vortex is usually held in place by a jet stream of wind of high and low pressure weather. And now you can see that it is kind of pushing down, and it's going to go down into the United States, spill over into many of the states. A chunk of the polar vortex can slide down towards the U.S. This helps funnel bitterly cold Arctic air over the central and eastern part of the United States. You can see this right here as it is pushing down further across the U.S. Temperatures can plummet to near freezing as far south as the Gulf Coast. Now, according to Cohen, we will have one polar vortex stretch in mid-January. That stretch will return below normal temperatures to the eastern U.S. Now, recently, much of the cold air in North America was erased with the strong, but more importantly, circular polar vortex during the beginning of January, which allowed mild Pacific air to flood much of Canada and the U.S. The polar vortex will relax briefly before the next stretch, starting as the last week of January nears. So again, they're saying this is on the way. Now, at that time, the polar vortex stretch, it will start out in western North America and quickly slide to the east. This looks to resupply the cold air in western Canada that we saw for much of December before heading southeast into north-central U.S. and eventually the northeastern U.S. the fourth week of January, Cohen said. And you can see a contrasting air mass diagram right here, the 15th through the 25th. It's going to be flowing through right here, and you can see waves of Arctic air pouring down across the central and eastern part of the United States, all the way down to Florida. So what does this mean for snow and cold temperatures? Snow is the $64,000 question, Cohen told USA Today. Looks like the usual spots will continue to see snow. The lake effect regions around the Great Lakes, northern New England, whether it will snow much in the big city is a tough call. I think that the pattern will eventually start to produce more widespread snow, but it's not obvious. In the meantime, it again looks like more nuanced types of snow from Alberta clippers. Now, according to the AccuWeather, because of the large, rounded shape of the jet stream dip, it will be difficult for storms in the south to rapidly strengthen along the Atlantic coast and become major snowstorms. Instead, most storms will stay weak, move quickly, and exit out to the sea through much of next week, according to AccuWeather meteorologist Alex Sosnowski in an online forecast. However, any fluctuation, even brief, could be enough to allow a southern storm to track farther north and hug the Atlantic coast. Now, meanwhile, temperatures in Chicago are expected to swing from near average to 10 to 20 degrees below average over the next 1 to 2 weeks, AccuWeather has said. The average high in Chicago is near 32 degrees Fahrenheit. In New York City, temperatures will range from near the historical average in the upper 30s to 5 to 10 degrees below during the same period as the polar vortex takes hold. And there you have it, you guys. So they are warning that there are 2 Arctic blasts. The second will be greater than the first, and that is still on the way here. Now, here's another one, too, that's going to be covering a map showing the states facing the persistent cold as the polar vortex updates are pouring in. You can see this today, January the 19th, 2026. A forecast map reveals which states can expect to see persistent cold in the weeks ahead. So, again, they're saying this is going to hit. It's going to be with us. You think it's been cold the past couple of days? We're not out of the woods yet. After experts said the polar vortex would unleash waves of icy air across parts of the U.S. through January. Over the next couple of weeks, the jet stream will develop a large buckle with a northward bulge along the Pacific coast and a southward dip centered on the Great Lakes. AccuWeather lead long-range meteorologist Paul Pasteluk said in a January 13th report from the outlet. This setup stretches the polar vortex, sending persistent warmth near the bulge and repeated shots of cold air through the dip. More recently, Washington Post weather writers and meteorologist Ben Knoll noted on Sunday that a brutal polar vortex pattern shows no sign of easing across the United States through the end of January. So again, they're saying this is persistent. If you think it's been cold, it's not going to go away here anytime soon. There's actually going to be another blast that's even more cold on the way. According to a temperature outlook from the National Weather Service Climate Prediction Center for the January 24th to 28th period, the states most likely to see below normal temperatures during the window include portions of the Great Plains, the Midwest, and the Northeast. And here you can see 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, valid January 24th through the 28th, issued on the 18th. And you can see here the dark blue, you are going to be very cold. Blue, all the light blues, going to be below normal. And then as you can see here, near normal with the grays down in the lower part of Texas, mid part of Florida. And then on the West Coast, it's actually going to be above normal temperatures along with the southern tip of Florida as well. Now, anomalous hazardous cold temperatures are anticipated to continue across the Midwest for late January, the agency said in an update on Friday. Temperatures may fall below negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit across the northern parts of North Dakota and Minnesota, it said. And here you can see that same map we saw in the previous article of this northern and central part of the United States getting hit by that Arctic polar vortex. Now, in an advisory shared with Newsweek on Monday, forecasts at AccuView said that it is a persistent Arctic cold pattern that is expected to hold across the Midwest and the Northeast through late January, boosting the likelihood of snow from any winter storm. States potentially affected spanned much of the northern U.S., ranging from Montana to Maine. In the north and as far as the south in Kentucky, the map had showed. And here's that same map as well. So these are being released out right now as they are warning that there is going to be some pretty cold weather on the way. So what is that polar vortex again? It is, according to the National Weather Service, the polar vortex is that large area of low pressure and frigid air surrounding each of Earth's poles. It is a year-round feature, though it weakens in the summer and becomes more intense in the winter. The word vortex refers to the counterclockwise circulation that helps confine this cold air near the poles. In many northern hemisphere winters, the polar vortex can stretch southward, according to cold air that could spill down the jet stream. This is fairly common winter patterns and is often linked to major Arctic cold outbreaks in the United States, the agency said. So again, they're saying nothing out of the ordinary, but we are experiencing some cold weather, and it's going to get colder, and it's going to be pretty intense. Please prepare now because it is abnormally cold. But this weather pattern that we're experiencing, it's usually we will see the polar vortex, but now they're saying you're going to see some more of it. It is locked in. As they said, there's going to be 2 Arctic blasts. Polar vortex locks in over most of the U.S., days of Arctic temperatures ahead for millions through January. And it says the displacement of the polar vortex over the eastern half of the United States will usher in days of Arctic cold through the end of January. Brutal, life-threatening wind chill temperatures have already taken hold across the northern plains, upper Midwest, and a part of the Ohio Valley and interior Northeast, the first of several Arctic blasts. Now, the core of the polar vortex, which contains some of the coldest air in the planet, has shifted south over much of the eastern U.S. and will allow waves of sub-freezing temperatures to grip parts of the Midwest. It will be slightly warmer, but not by much across the Northeast, while enough cold air could take hold across the South to set the stage for rare winter storms. On Monday, more than 230 million Americans woke up to below freezing temperatures. The upper Midwest, like Milwaukee, Chicago, the Twin Cities, experienced temperatures below zero or in the single digits, and wind gusts from up to 20 to 40 miles per hour, which made the region feel like -10 to -30 degrees. By Tuesday, over 70 million Americans will be affected as the cold air continues over the Midwest. While it spreads to the Northeast, cities like Cleveland and Pittsburgh, they will face a wind chill of -15 to -5 degrees. And here you can see the temperature outlook for Friday, January the 23rd, they're predicting, and it is looking like it's going to be pretty cold. Now, the I-95 corridor, including New York City, will likely not experience the intense Arctic air, but low temperatures in the morning combined with the gusty northwestern winds will still put many cities in the single digits. Now, the first wave of the Arctic cold will ease slightly by Wednesday as winds will start to relax across the north. That being said, even though conditions will be less severe, the cold will remain widespread and impactful, as they're saying that this will be persistent, and it is a second Arctic blast. The next surge of the Arctic air is expected to arrive on Thursday, leaving no time for the Midwest to recover. The powerful Arctic high will be centered north of the United States and will funnel in extremely dense cold air southward into the lower 48. Temperatures could feel like they're in the -20 to -30 range. Areas that are located closer to the northern borders may see -40 degrees on Friday. These temperatures will set the stage for life-threatening conditions, such as creating the perfect environment for frostbite to occur in as little as 10 to 30 minutes. Now, the second wave of Arctic air is expected to dominate the weather pattern through the weekend and could play a critical role in the development of the potential next winter storm for the south and east coast. Wow. So there you have it, you guys. I was not aware it was going to get that cold, -40, and they're saying you could get frostbite in as little as 10 to 30 minutes of exposure. So please prepare. Please be aware of what's going on. Be careful, because right now they're saying that, it's normal for us to have a polar vortex, but they're saying we're going to be getting 2 Arctic blasts, and they're going to be persistent and last for quite a while, which is why we're seeing some unusually cold weather. And like I shared with you the video footage, we're seeing snow in Florida and as far down as Georgia, Alabama, Florida. They're saying they are getting inches of snow. It is freezing down there. Rare snowflakes fly in the south as storm charges up the East Coast, dumping inches of snow. You can see here most locations can expect to see another 3 inches, with a few spots possibly seeing around 6 inches of snow, especially across eastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island as well. So take a look. After a snowy morning in parts of Florida and Georgia, a bigger burst of snowfall is heading up the East Coast and could bring several inches of snow to New England this evening. Some snow is still impacting higher elevations in North Carolina, but the biggest threat will be in the Northeast, where we're tracking large amounts of snow. The bulk of the snow is expected to start later this afternoon and will end either Sunday night or Monday night, depending on the area. Snowfall will continue in New York City until about 9 p.m., but Boston will see flakes through Monday morning. Now, most locations can expect to see another 3 inches, with a few spots possibly reaching around 6 inches of snow, especially across eastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Now, recent forecasts suggest that the low will track closer to the coast and bring more snow further to the west. So there you have it, you guys. We are hearing it is intense right now. And again, I shared with you the breaking news that there is that 100 vehicle pileup on I-196 in West Michigan as well, just a couple of hours ago. So please prepare. Please be aware of all of the intense weather that is going to be unfolding here. They're saying that you need to be ready, because if you thought it was cold the past couple of days, they're saying it's going to get even colder and it's going to be persistent. So please be ready and be aware. Let me know where you're at. Are you experiencing below normal temperatures of weather? Or are you on the West Coast, where we're hearing that it's a little bit warmer than normal? Let me know. I know here in Houston, Texas, it is definitely colder than normal. It's pretty chilly outside, actually. I went out to enjoy the day. We're hearing that it's going to be, I think, raining the rest of the week. So tried to go out and have some fun outside while it was bearable. and now it's going to get cold. And then, the rest of the year in Houston, it's always hot or hotter. So it's actually a nice little change of pace for us here. But hopefully, like I said, you guys stay safe, be ready, be prepared. And as more comes out, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date on everything. Veronica's asking, is Texas going to be getting snow? I don't think so. I double checked our area. But my son is praying for snow, so we'll see if we get it. We got it last year. It was pretty wild. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Hit that like button if you haven't done so. Subscribe to stay up to date. And also, these articles are going to be linked down in the description below, along with additional resources if you're looking to try to save a little bit of extra money in 2026, various creative ways to save for your family. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.